good morning. Yes, I am having my early morning cuppa with you. And I've got a busy time at the minute. And I thought I'll plop on and just say hello. My name's Pene. I live in the southeast of England with my husband Pete. And it's just the most gorgeous day. We've been having the most glorious days. Not too hot, not too cold. Just right. Lovely to go out for walks by the sea. I live by the sea, and my walk into town is just, well, along the sea shore, and it's really lovely. Although we live in a very built-up area, because it used to be countryside, but now they're building this estate and that estate, and wherever you go, there's new houses. Is that what it's like where you live? Oh, I don't know. So that's where I thought I'd pop on and say hello. I'll show you my knits, what I'm knitting this week, what I've been knitting this week. I'll show you what I'm going to be knitting, and because I've been squirreling things away, but I've started on 2 of the squirrel things, so now I've started on 1. Well, I think I better start this all again, do you? But anyway, no, I'm knitting a shawl because I'm knitting all the ladies in my family a shawl. And I'll show you the one I'm doing at the moment for Georgina, my granddaughter. I had put Moosh and Friends squirreled away so that I could do him in the dark nights, but I couldn't resist. So I've started Moosh himself. I didn't know the white little bear was Moosh. I just thought he was a polar bear. And anyway, he's Moosh himself. He's not Moosh in my life. He's joined me as well. I've got one PJ, and he calls himself a polar bear. So I think when I said I'm knitting you a polar bear, he said, "So lovely, it's mine." And when I first made my first animal, which was Tilly from Knitted Animal Friends, was it? I can't remember the book now. Anyway, I've knitted a lot of them. He thought I was a little bit mad knitting them. Now he wants the polar bear for himself. So I think all these they've won our hearts over, definitely. I started doing these 2 years ago. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just thought I'd show you my makes that I'd made or what I'm making. And now it's developed, really. I look back and it's a lovely diary. And my mum did some, and Pete did some as well. I'm hoping he will again. But, last week, he got himself some hearing aids. Honestly, we haven't looked back. Pops them in the morning, takes them out at night, doesn't know they're there. Thrilled to bits, as am I, because our conversations run so much smoother. Anyway, this has become, a little bit like a diary. So instead of waffling and telling you all about what I've done this week, I've made a little film. I've done that the last few episodes, and I quite like it. There's some flowers from the garden. The last of the hollyhocks. Our hollyhocks are such a display right down the bottom. The chickens used to be down there, and a few weeks ago I lost my chickens, which is very sad. But the hollyhocks, they're just hanging on. They really are. We've got a lovely tree outside the kitchen here, and honestly, it's exquisite. The blossom have just come out, and as you walk past, it's like a heady scent of jasmine, and then they turn to like berries. I'll show you those as we go through. The berries are like, what do you call those berries you eat for breakfast? See, this is it. It's brain fog, isn't it? Everybody's got it. Blueberries. Yeah, they're just like blueberries. Nicola, my daughter, she has started sewing, and she wanted to make the macarons. And so I'll show you a photo of the macaron she made. We put a little magnet in it. The needle, well, you sew the magnet. I sewed it onto a little bit of quilting wadding that you put inside quilts, because I make quilts. And I sewed it to that and then put it in between, sandwiched. I didn't sew it, she sewed it. And and we tested it out with a needle, and then when she got home, she wants to put her, is it Pandora, her bracelets and a little necklace she's got that's very dear to her. She popped it in, and the magnet held it beautifully so it wouldn't fall out. So she's thrilled. She's going to make another good few. I think once you get the bug for the macarons, you can't stop. I know my friend Jan, I think she's on to about her 40th now. They're lovely. They're lovely presents, and I get them from Rose Garden. I'll put it up. It's early. So that's in the little film. I was making a cup of tea, and the squirrel just came, looked through the window. I don't know if he was saying, would you please put out a, square of food. We had to stop doing that because the magpies and the parakeets just came and ate it in half an hour. But they've tootled off a bit now, so Pete said we might put him some down and maybe he'll, he can help himself, although they eat it very quickly. But he just kept me company the whole time I made my cup of tea, so that was lovely. We have had a hedgehog in the garden, and we found him out the front. He'd lost his way, so I brought him back. I think I'm going to buy him some cat biscuits because he may need a little bit of, a little bit of help. I don't know, but certainly he was cute, Mrs. Tiggywinkle. And then I brought back a couple of things from my mum's. I realise I've forgotten to bring out one of the things. I'll go and get that in a tick. And one of the other things was the quilt. I made my mum for her mum and dad for their diamond wedding. That's their 60th, which was in 2004. And so, yeah, mum and dad celebrated, 74, I think. I put it on my bed now because it's rather nice and it's called Diamonds. And then my daughter came to visit with my granddaughter and her two children, Mila and George. And I've got to say, Mila's a very good girl, but George, he was born on February the 6th. And he's all smiles, no matter what you do. He drives all this way down. They live about an hour away, all on the motorways. And, he's a smile when he gets here. Not a grizzle the whole time he's here. And then off he popped home. And she's been blessed with a lovely one. And, he wanted a little feed from his mum. So Pete held him. And he obviously didn't think that was a good idea because Georgina's feeding him herself. And the face he pulled was quite fun. So that's my little film. I'm going to put that up now while I go and get the other bit that I want to show you that I brought back from Mum's. I've got this. This is what I brought back from Mum's. Can you see? I just grew up with it. I remember it from ever. I've always had it in my life. I'm 74 now. So can you imagine? My mum literally used that every day of her married life, I think. It's called Evan, and it's got a fish on the bottom. Can you see that? I mean, that's sturdy, isn't it? I remember she made all her jellies in it. Whatever she made it. And she's got this little one. This is called Made in England Tower brand. Same kind of handle. It's got the fluid ounces in there. It's doing it outside. I've got the sunshine. But there it is. Yeah, and then another one. I've got this on my kitchen shelf. It's this one. There's no name on the bottom of that one. I think this is more recent. This is the one I remember all my life. And this one, I think this is more recent. They're back with me. So I hope you enjoyed the little film of my week. So shall I show you? If you remember, I showed you the spin cycle yarn dyed in the wool. Here it is. And that becomes part of the yoke on the pattern I want to do. And I thought, what shall I make for the rest of it? I pondered. I mean, my instincts want to go to, you know, the teal, which is my favourite colour. It's always my favourite. But I thought, well, that's not going to show up. I mean, you need a contrast. Then I thought of the mustard, but I didn't want mustard. Oh, I'm not like the sea slug, am I? Do you know the sea slug? I'll put some pictures up here of the sea slug. They're found on coral reefs, and they're showing scientists now how, you know, the sea is warming because they're changing where they live, but they're brightly coloured because they want to, you know, ward off predators. And the colours are amazing. They don't think, now what colour shall I be? Now what goes with what? They just are, and they're absolutely beautiful. So I thought, what just? I wanted to use the Rowan felted tweed, like it said in the pattern, so I've gone for this. I think that'll be all right. I'm hoping. It's got little flecks of blue in. Can you see the flecks? It's rather pretty, and I thought that would show up then when I knit it together. So watch this space. We'll see how successful. So that's one I've squirreled away for those dark nights. I think it'll be all right. I'm hoping. Yes, I'll have to adopt the sea slug's attitude, just be. So I'm just going to do it and see what happens. I'll be knitting my granddaughter Georgina, who you saw in the film, knitting her shawl. She loves yellow, absolutely loves yellow. And so I bought a ball of, I showed you last time, last episode, what the colours were. I've just got the one ball here. I'm going to get the yellow. And this is what I've knitted this week. Oh, it's divine. It really is lovely. I hope you can get the effect. Of course, when it's stretched out, it becomes really, really long. as you've seen with my others. But I think I've got one more bit of yellow to do, and then another of this beautiful. It's from Ellie of Craft House Magic. I'll put up the 2 colours that I'm using. It's just a joy for the hands to work with. So that's how far I've got this week with that. And then, of course, I've started PJ or Moosh. And I didn't know how I was going to get on with it because I have made Tootsie Bear and I said I'd never knit another one. But this book, Moosh and Friends by Cinthia Vales, this book is absolutely second to none. I mean, I can't speak highly enough of it. For instance, each bit has got its own, I can't show you too much, but it's got its own heading. So you can sort of say, well, I'm going to do that bit. It's not a great long pattern that you think, oh no, where do I start? So starting. And then underneath starting, it says, see lessons 1 to 3 and 5. I said to myself, I'll just do that. And then, okay, next bit, shaping the head. See lesson 6. Okay, I thought I'll just do that. Short rows. And then she says, see section 1. Shows you exactly how to do it. Short row section 2, short row section 3, short row section 4. So if you don't know anything, just read it up. She writes it in everyday language, just as if she's speaking to you. Adding the faces features. See lessons 7 and 10. And I am now on to shaping the neck and the shoulders. Oh no, I did that bit. I thought I'll just do that bit. Got to the end. And then it's knitting the arms. See lessons 8 to 11. So read that up first, because she says, when I say put it on a holder, well, she says, holder. I'm calling it a holder, but you might find it easier if it's on a, on a loop, because you want it to dangle and not be firm. So she said, I'm calling it a holder, but you find what you prefer. And I preferred, well, I just had, you know, the needles with the, you can see it's early. I can't think of any words, which is great when you're doing a podcast. And that's what I've used. And so I'm halfway through knitting the left arm. I'll show you him. Pete loves him. I'm knitting him in some yarn I had, which is, I'll put it up, it's Surrey alpaca, so it's super soft. Got the sun here now, and here he is. I've just got some odd bits of wadding in there. But here, let me let go of my bits, I can. I just push those on there. You see I've got my spare stitches on a needle here, which she calls a holder, so that it's bendy. I can forget those whilst I'm knitting the arm on that, because of course it's all knitted in one. And what's adorable knitting it is that he's looking at you the whole time. Well, he's facing me, you see, and he's just saying hi as I'm knitting his arms. I've just put a little bit of a wadding, quilt wadding in there, just to puff him out while I did his nose and put his eyes in. He'll be wadded from the bottom you just, I think, are left with a little few stitches, and then you wad it all the way through. I sent off to, is it Lucy Locketland, for some wool that's in small pieces. I saw Helen of Mousy Makes used it, and I fancied that. So I've sent off for some, because I think it'll be soft and get down all the little bits. So here he is. I'll turn you up the right way. See, everything's perfectly safe. And here he is. Isn't he adorable? He's PJ. Meet your public. So I think that's it for this week. I think the next time I see you, it's going to be September. I don't know where these last months have gone. Well, I do know clearing Mum's house and waiting for probate, and now the house is sold, and I feel I can look forward. Every day I was getting up and thinking, I must pop round there, just do those few bits, just do those few bits. Or there's a solicitor was phoning and saying, can you come and pop in and see me? And he's a lovely, lovely man. And yeah. But now, although I've still got, probate goes on for quite a while after, the house is sold and I don't need to pop round there anymore. It's just in the hands of a lovely family. So I feel like I'm looking forward, like I'm moving forward. Not like this wasp who's looking at me. Oh, he's gone. And so that's where my summer's gone. And now we find ourselves nearly at the end of August. And yeah. Oh, that's how I feel. So it'll be September when I see you next, which isn't long. I think it's next week. And you take care. I'm going to end with the last 2 days of my holiday. In June, we managed to get away and forget everything and go to the Isles of Scilly, which is 5 islands off the south-west coast of England. And these films that I'm putting up now, I thought, oh, I can't eke it out anymore. It's the last 2 days of the holiday. We went to Briar, which is literally, you can see it from Tresco. Go for a walk up to King Charles Castle. It's just a walk round from our cottage, and it's lovely. But you can look across to Briar. The next day, as was usual, the little birds came in and cleared up the toast crumbs. And then last day, what should we do? We went back to the Abbey Gardens. So we always do that. Our last afternoon was the Abbey Gardens and then saying goodbye to the islands. So that's the film that I'm putting up now. I hope you enjoy it. I say cheerio, see you in September, all being well. And I hope you enjoy the last bits of summer or your winter if you're in the other hemisphere. Cheerio.
Yes, I know.